Hello viewers and welcome to Learning with GGU. In today's lesson, we shall discuss the sound devices in alliteration, consonance, assonance, and sibilance. It is appropriate to get the distinction between these devices so as to avoid making very little mistakes in any exam situation when asked to identify them. Kindly give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and press the notification bell so that you are notified whenever I upload contents like this. Alright, so like I said earlier, getting a distinction between these sound devices is very important, as they can be confusing at times when asked to fish them out in a test. These are sound devices that deal with the repetitions of sounds so as to set the tone and the mood within any literary work. It could be poems, it could be prose, or it could be drama. The repetition of some sounds when reading poetry, for instance, can be very entertaining due to the manner and context with which these sounds are produced. A poet can, however, create a dull mood by repeating some sounds to carry his messages across to his readers. Let's first talk about consonance. Consonance is a literary device that refers to the repetition of the same consonant sounds within a line of text. Remember, the repetition has to do with consonant sounds and not just consonant letters. The thing about consonance is this. In consonance, repeated consonant sounds can appear anywhere within the words in a line of a text. That is to say, with consonance, the sounds can be found at the beginning, at the middle, or at the end of words. These sounds, however, must follow each other closely or in a quick succession. For example, backtrack. There is a repetition of the consonant sound K in succession. The K sound is produced at the end of each word. K in back and K in track. Here are some key takeaways with the use of consonants. 1. Consonants repeat the same consonant sounds within a line of text. Example: my best bet is that he will first get wet. Let me take it again. My best bet is that he will first get wet. What do you see within this line? You notice the repetition of the consonant sound T within the words in this text. 2. Consonants can occur at the beginning, the middle, or the end of words in the same line of a text. Example: despite the traffic, the fish found itself afloat. Again, despite the traffic, the fish found itself afloat. In this line, we can observe that the position of the consonant sounds didn't really matter. The F sound first occurred at the middle, at the beginning again, and then at the middle. So you see, it doesn't matter where in the word the sound is produced. What is required is that the same consonant sounds are repeated in quick succession. 3. In consonance, consonant sounds are repeated, not consonant letters. For instance, on the 4th, I had a tough cough. Let me take it again. On the 4th, I had a tough cough. Now, when we take a look at this sentence, there is a repetition of the consonant sound F in 4th, cough and tough. Not all of these words, however, has the letter F in them to produce the consonant sound F. It tells you that with consonants, you only have to focus yourself on the consonant sounds and not just the consonant letters. 4. Consonants should appear in quick succession in a line of text. Example: I felt full after overfeeding myself. You can notice how close the repetition of F sounds are in this sentence. Let's take a look at this quote by John Kennedy. My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. As you can see, there's a repetition of the sound K throughout the quote. Now one may be tempted to point out the fact that there is a repetition of F sounds in the words fellow and for, and this could depict consonance. Yes, there is a repetition of F sounds in the quote, but these sounds do not follow each other closely. The sounds produced by the words are farther apart, unlike the K sounds produced. Let's now take a switch to alliteration. Alliteration, much more like consonance, deals with the repetition of mostly consonant sounds. But in the case of alliteration, the repeated sounds are at the beginning of words and follow each other closely. One may be tempted to think that alliteration has to do with the repetition of consonant letters at the beginning of words. This is wrong. Let's take a look at this example. Come to church. Now in this example, you realize at the beginning of the words, same consonant letters have been repeated. This, however, is not alliteration. This is because the initial sounds produced do not produce the same consonant sounds. The focus of alliteration is a repetition of mostly consonant sounds, so that we can say a sentence like Phyllis phoned to request for my flute is alliterative. Why? Because the consonant sound F runs throughout the sentence, and that's what we are looking out for. It is interesting to note that alliteration also talks about the repetition of initial vowel sounds in words. Example: Osman owns many owls. For alliteration to occur, the following conditions must be satisfied. 1. The repeated vowel or consonant sounds must be repeated in quick succession. Example: the no-nonsense nerd needs no net. While this example looks pretty extreme in demonstrating how closely alliterative words should follow each other, sentences should not necessarily be like this before we can conclude that they are alliterative. There can be one or two non-alliterative words in between, but there shouldn't just be many words separating the alliterative words. 2. Alliteration occurs at the beginning of words, that is, the initial sounds produced when words are pronounced. Example: Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. 3. In alliteration, only vowel or consonant sounds are repeated and not just letters. The focus is on the similarity of initial letters. Example: the poisonous cream killed Christopher. So you see, different initial letters, same sounds produced. It is interesting to note that we find alliteration in most tongue twisters. For instance, she sells seashells at the seashore. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. These tongue twisters enable fluency and proper articulation in the pronunciation of words. Assonance. Assonance might just be the opposite of consonance. Whereas consonance focuses solely on consonant sounds, assonance focuses on vowel sounds. Assonance is a literary device that involves the repetition of similar vowel sounds closely in a line of text. Most at times, the repetition of sounds with regards to this literary device occurs in the middle of words. These are the major vowel sounds we have, and depending on how long or short they are stressed, we can have many more. A lot of our everyday conversations utilize the sound device assonance. Let's take a look at some examples. Cain left Spain due to the pain and stayed in Lagos. Notice the repetition of similar vowel sounds in Cain, Spain, pain, stayed, and in Lagos. John picked the ball and kicked it in the air. Check the words picked, kicked, it, in. My son made a sad sound in the madhouse. Similar vowel sounds are repeated in the words son, sad, and mad. I freed the green bee from the hen. Now, let's take a look at sibilance. Sibilance is another sound device that deals with the repetitions of sounds that have harshing or hissing quality. Unlike the other sound devices that utilize many alphabets in producing sounds, sibilance deals with the repetition of only S and SH sounds, that is, the hiss and the hush of sounds. Let's take a look at some examples. I'm certain that I will get my first kiss on the lips today. Now when you take a look at this sentence, the focus is not on the repetition of the S letters, but the sounds produced from the letter S. So certain produces the hissing quality S in it. Kiss also produces that hissing quality. Lips also produces an S sound, which is also a hissing quality. Shane gave me a ferocious punch. In this sentence, there is a repetition of SH sounds in Shane and ferocious. Once again, let us remind you to subscribe to the channel. It's also another statement involving the use of sibilance. There are suggestions that hissing sounds other than S and SH sounds could be qualified as sibilance due to the manner in which they are pronounced. The F, V, and Z sounds pushes air from the mouth when pronounced, just like the S and SH sounds. It is not a universally agreed idea, and so it's better to stick to the traditional definition of sibilance with regards to the S and SH sounds. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share.